the intro, get the vibe going on. Chat, by the way, we did a 9-hour stream yesterday. I appreciate you guys if you stuck around for the entire 9 hours. If you watched the parts or maybe in whole, the whole 9 hours on YouTube, on Rumble, on Twitch, or even on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever your DSP podcasting viewership takes you. Couple things that happened today that we're gonna get into. It wouldn't be a September day without some more Diddy news. Another allegation on Diddy. This is a civil suit. We should make sure we showcase the difference. So there's another woman who's making allegations. This is from over about 15 to 20 years ago. But this woman is now doing press conferences. They're not just filing lawsuits. They're doing press conferences. Again, we're going to look into that for a bit. We're also hearing that Diddy might be participating in a hunger strike. Not necessarily a strike. Apparently, maybe Diddy is a little bit paranoid that maybe somebody got it in for him and might want to poison him. We'll check into that. The young Dolph case continues. We hear testimony from a couple of people today, and I'm going to make it very abridged for you guys. We're not going to listen to like too much of it, but still, the guy who's on trial, Justin Johnson, aka Straight Drop, he was testified against by his own brother. Yes, his blood brother. It's a half brother, but nonetheless, shit, that's a blood brother if you call it one, right? His blood brother testified against him today. Again, I think that case is going to be wrapped up by probably this afternoon when I'm talking about Wednesday at 3:00. Again, anything after that is just a bunch of, I think I was watching the YBC Duel thing. He's like, yo, there's something called overcooked. Yeah, they're just overcooking this nigga at this point because the case is over. Okay, he's guilty, right? So we'll get to that. Let me see, what else do I have for you guys? I actually took on a page eloquently sent me, yo, hey, we have debunked all the Jay-Z Illuminati, Jay-Z fucking underage girl rumors, and we're going to go look into that. We're going to be, neutral, impartial, arbiters. So we'll look into that. Finesse 2 Times supposedly was raising a kid that apparently wasn't his. His ex-girlfriend lied about him being a daddy. The DNA test came back and said he was not the father, okay? Talk about that. Boosie's kids, or Boosie and TI kids, apparently they were shooting a music video. Apparently the video is from a year ago, but there was some guns in the video. It went viral today where, T.I. and Boosie was checking their kids for shooting videos and flashing guns. Metro Boomin doing exactly what a metrosexual or a Metro Boomin would do, which is backpedaling from everything he's said on social media, everything that he's helped popped off for the energies help curate. My boy went from saying it's pick a side. It's either their side or our side. Certified pedophile. He went to the great lengths of letting people know he's not rocking with Drake. Of course, when he's asked on a mainstream stage, Forbes Under 30, he was sitting on a panel, or not panel, but he was sitting in front of an audience, but an audience curated by Forbes, bitched up, claims that the issues ain't that deep. Okay. What else? A rumored XXL freshman list. We'll do that as well. By the way, I think top 5 might be on the stream tonight. Okay, top 5. It looks like he's gonna make his first public appearance on a podcast or a stream, and that might happen. Anyway, let's get into this real quick. If you guys are wondering or waiting to see, are we live on all platforms? Did I go live on all platforms? Let me make sure this is a thing. Sorry. Oh, we didn't go live on the King Academics channel. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, don't worry. We're going live, all right? So let me pull up my list here. So we're going to react to, and I do have the lawsuit as well. We're going to review that too. We're not going to do like 3-4 hours on Diddy tonight. Pause. Even though that's a nigga who loves to have day-long freak-offs. We're going to get straight to the bullshit. There was a press conference scheduled and actually done today by a new victim, allegedly the 11th victim that had, or allegedly the 11th alleged victim. And again, when we talk about criminal cases versus civil cases, we have to point out I could just get up and say Diddy fucked me and file a lawsuit. Doesn't mean it's true. However, when it comes to Diddy, it's one of those situations where there is smoke. Perhaps it might be a little bit of fire, okay? So we're going to actually watch this press conference, which, by the way, I was actually shocked that it took this long for Gloria Allred. If you guys don't know who this person is, give me 1 second. If you guys, that's not it. Oh, here. If you guys don't know who this woman who is in this, is this blue or this purple? I'm a little colorblind. This woman has been known, you know, and I'm going to be respectful, as the person who represents a lot of victims of high-profile individuals. She has gained a reputation by constantly speaking out, doing press conferences, making it aware and known to these people. From what I know, and I could be incorrect, I don't think she's a criminal attorney, but she definitely does deal with PR and also civil cases regarding people who are trying to sue people, again, for money. We're going to watch this press conference. It's about, is this in full? No, wait, this is like 30 minutes. What? We're see if we can speed this up a little bit, and let's get through this, and I'll show you guys the paperwork on this new victim. Again, by the way, I'll give you the synopsis. This is a woman who claims that her life has been tormented and tortured by what she experienced at the hands of Diddy. She claims that Diddy and also a bodyguard had sex with her against her will. She's claiming sexual assault. She is saying that it's ruined her life. And even though it's over a decade, she's saying it still haunts her to this day. Claims she can't get in a regular relationship. Claims her life has been effed up ever since Diddy hit her with the Johnson & Johnson baby oil and that goddamn, bad boy, take that cock, okay? So let's listen in first, and again, I do have the lawsuit queued up for y'all, okay? Let's go listen.
Recording in progress.
Thank you for coming today. I'm attorney Gloria Allred, and with me is our client, plaintiff Thalia Graves. Today we filed a lawsuit in the United States District Court, Southern District of New York, for our client, plaintiff Thalia Graves, who is given permission to use her name. The case number of the 26...
Reason why that's important, there is a Jane Doe. I think maybe two Jane Does. I know Christina McKinney is named. There is a Jane Doe that's named. Again, if you don't know, when you file these lawsuits are embarrassing in nature for someone who could be potentially a real victim. You don't have to file with your name. You could file as an anonymous person. Obviously, a jury is going to see your face, and the person who you're accusing, even though it's not criminal, they're going to have to face the person who's suing them. So you don't get to sue somebody completely anonymous, but in at least the public filings, you could claim what's Jane Doe, or if you're a guy, John Doe. One person has claimed Jane Doe, which, by the way, Diddy's lawyers has successfully defeated that via a motion that the judge agreed with, to say that potential victim has to use their real name. Why? In that particular case, Diddy made the argument that this person already has a public-facing image, and some people believe that was Thierry Marie. Again, we haven't verified that yet. However, the one case, or the case that I know about with the Jane Doe, Diddy's lawyers did successfully file a motion and was granted in their favor that you can't just sue this guy anonymously, right? Because imagine, with all due respect, Tiana Trump suing Selena Powell. So like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? So again, at the end of the day, I think the majority of people who are going to file lawsuits, they want to stand behind it. And by the way, you hear Gloria Allred saying her client, which is Thalia Graves, which is the woman standing to the left of her, has agreed to share her name.
Page complaint is 1:24-CV-07-201. In her lawsuit, Thalia, through her attorneys, sues Sean Diddy Combs, also known as the defendant, and another individual and other entities. The complaint alleges in part in the first cause of action that defendant Combs and another defendant committed a, quote, violation of New York City Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act by viciously and violently forcing sexual contact, oral sex, and sexual intercourse on the plaintiff, end quote. In addition, the complaint
It was very interesting. This is a minute in, and you can see the victim or alleged victim here. Again, I'm going to just use the term alleged victim just to be fair. This doesn't mean I'm defending anyone, but we have to remember what we're talking about. She's crying already. I'm not going to lie.
Alleges in the second cause of action that defendant Combs and another defendant committed a violation of New York civil rights law, quote, section 52-B, end quote, by, quote, raping plaintiff and recording it. Defendants caused plaintiff to be depicted in a video image, unclothed and with intimate body parts exposed, and engaged in sexual conduct with another person, end quote. The lawsuit also alleges that, quote, defendant Combs and another defendant published and or disseminated the videos without plaintiff's knowledge or consent. On information and belief, defendants have continued to disseminate the video, including by selling it as pornography through the present, end quote. In our, we ask that, quote, defendant should be ordered for and brought all copies of the...
This is a stream right here. This isn't me. I don't know why it's so bad. Maybe I could go to live from Fox.
We'll take you now out.
Here we go.
Intimate videos of plaintiff, end quote.
Here we go. This one's better.
We also allege in the third cause of action that Combs and another defendant committed a violation of New York City disclosed an intimate image of plaintiff without her consent, end quote. As a result of these and other allegations in our complaint, we request that judgment be entered against defendants as follows. Awarding compensatory damages for all physical injuries, emotional distress, psychological harm, anxiety, humiliation, physical and emotional pain and suffering, family and social disruption, and other harm in an amount to be determined at trial. Awarding punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial. Awarding attorneys' fees and costs pursuant to any applicable statute or law, including under New York City Administrative Code, Section 10-1104, New York Civil Rights Law, Section 52-B2, New York City Administrative Code, Section 10-180, and any other applicable statute or law. We're also seeking additional relief that the court may deem just and proper. As a result of what is alleged in the lawsuit, Thalia alleges that she has suffered and continues to suffer, among other damages, emotional harm, including mental anguish, emotional distress, humiliation, and physical damage. In a few minutes, Thalia will speak to the impact and...
Try not to pause it. But I wonder with the humiliation part. I don't think there was a public element of the humiliation. We've never heard of this girl. I don't think Diddy's ever told the public about whatever he may have done with her or may have not done. Granted, I'm not saying it validates her claims. But I'm wondering, obviously she's alleging that Diddy showed a video of her having sex to other people, and apparently the sex was non-consensual, according to her. But I feel like if there was a humiliation effect in this might be this moment. Like, you're doing a press conference that is now putting you, like, the only time we've ever seen you in history, you're now aligned with Diddy. Now, she could have filed this lawsuit, not done a press conference. She could have filed this lawsuit as a Jane Doe. But this press conference is happening, so, okay.
Harm that she has suffered and continues to suffer. She will take this courageous step because she thinks that it is important that the public understand the impact that rape and other criminal acts have on those who have been victimized. Often victims do not speak publicly about the specific damages that criminal acts cause them. Some of the many reasons that victims do not speak out publicly about this include being ashamed or shamed for this. But we believe that victims should not be shamed.
This video is today. This was a live stream today, chat.
And instead, those who committed the criminal acts against them should be ashamed and take responsibility for the harm that they have caused victims to suffer. We are very proud of Thalia for speaking out today in order to help victims of rape and other acts of sexual violence against them. In addition, we thank our co-counsel, Marianne Wang, Heather Gregoria, and Jasly Liriano for their exceptional legal work on this complaint. Our goal for Thalia is very simple. We want justice for her, and we are looking forward to winning it. It is long overdue for those who have caused her to suffer to be held accountable. All right, I'm going to move over a little to the microphone.
Now we're hearing from Thalia. Let's go.
Okay, a little more. Thank you. There you go. Thank you.
The internal pain after being sexually assaulted has been incredibly deep and hard to put into words. It goes beyond just physical harm caused by and during the assault. It's a pain that reaches into your very core.
Does this woman have to keep her hand on her back and look at her like this? Is this... Again, I'm only talking about Gloria Allred. Is what Gloria Allred doing, like... Is this necessary?
Of who you are and leaving emotional scars that may never fully heal. Some of the hardest parts of this pain are the shame and the guilt I have experienced that plays a negative part in my day-to-day ability to function properly. Being blamed, questioned, and threatened has often made me feel worthless, isolated, and sometimes responsible for what happened to me. My family issues made the pain even worse. I was already going through a divorce at the time of the assault and did not get the support.
Wait, she was married?
That I needed. I was also faced with disbelief and judgment. This has put a strain on my selection of men and relationships.
Did she just say this situation has prevented her from getting new niggas?
Where many relationships became aggressive and abusive, which has made me feel even more alone in my struggles. I go through spells of being distant and withdrawn that it's sometimes so hard to leave my house. The trauma of the assault has taken a toll on my mental health. I've had PTSD, depression, and anxiety. I'm emotionally scarred. It has been hard for me to trust others, to form healthy relationships, or even feel safe in my own skin. Flashbacks, nightmares, and intrusive thoughts make me feel like it's a constant struggle. I also suffer with physical problems such as chronic pain, sexual discomfort. The violation I have experienced during the assault has had lasting effects on my body.
Chat, I might have to take a detour. We're going to have to run this back. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, man. I love Toronto. I'm sorry. I know y'all was like, yo, Ak, you just interrupted the whole thing. You're right. I love Toronto. I'm sorry. I love Toronto. Like, top 5 is my guy. I'm sorry. I just got to show him a little love. Boy was locked up for like 3 years. He back out. You know what I mean? You know what? Like, you ever have a friend that like, yo, he said more than his freedom, all he wanted was the top live on Instagram. This is how you know he's been locked up for a minute. He said top live. I don't even think top live is still a thing, but we got him to 30K. You know what I mean? He talked his shit. Yo, I'm very happy for him. Welcome back, top 5. All right. All right. Cool. Perfect. Cool. Damn, how do we like rotate back into? It's not a good segue. All right, we're gonna try to rotate back into this chat. Okay, chat. So let me reset the scene. So basically, if you guys don't know, Diddy got his 11th lawsuit. Again, these are civil suits. He has one criminal suit, which is a RICO charge and a sex trafficking and a transportation for prostitution criminal charge. So there's 3 counts. That's the only criminal charge he has. That's federal. He has 11 civil suits. Okay, one has been resolved. That's the Cassie joint. There's 10 open. A new one was filed today. It's done by a alleged victim named Thalia Graves. She showed up with someone that you might know from other, very high profile cases involving, women being taken advantage of, this and third. Gloria Allred announced the lawsuit, which was filed in federal court in the Southern District of New York, which is kind of fitting because he has a criminal case there. So they dropped their lawsuit there as well. And essentially, not only she talked about what they're suing for, they had the young woman or Mrs. Graves speak, and this is when she took the microphone. We're gonna let her speak, and then we're gonna get into the lawsuit. Okay, chat.
Yes. The internal pain after being sexually assaulted has been incredibly deep and hard to put into words. It goes beyond just physical harm caused by and during the assault. It's a pain that reaches into your very core of who you are and leaving emotional scars that may never fully heal. Some of the hardest parts of this pain are the shame and the guilt I have experienced that plays a negative part in my day-to-day ability to function properly. Being blamed, questioned, and threatened has often made me feel worthless, isolated, and sometimes responsible for what happened to me. My family issues made the pain even worse. I was already going through a divorce at the time of the assault and did not get the support that I needed. I was also faced with disbelief and judgment. This has put a strain on my selection of men and relationships.
To be also very clear, and I'm just only adding context here, and this is context without judgment. This is not my place to speak on if I believe her or if I don't believe her at this point. The event she's talking about happened in 2001, 23 years ago. And I will get into a little bit more details about the events after we listen to this young woman. But, you know, she's definitely, you know, emotionally recounting the situation. But for your knowledge, this happened in 2001.
Where many relationships became aggressive and abusive, which has made me feel even more alone in my struggles. I go through spells of being distant and withdrawn that it's sometimes so hard to leave my house. The trauma of the assault has taken a toll on my mental health. I've had PTSD, depression, and anxiety. I'm emotionally scarred. It has been hard for me to trust others, to form healthy relationships, or even feel safe in my own skin. Flashbacks, nightmares, and intrusive thoughts make me feel like it's a constant struggle. I also suffer with physical problems such as chronic pain, sexual discomfort. The violation I have experienced during the assault has had lasting effects on my body, causing ongoing health problems and complications. The combination of physical and emotional pain has created a cycle of suffering from which it is so hard to break free. I want to continue on this journey towards recovery and healing. I'm glad that he is locked up, but that's a temporary feeling of relief.
Thalia is not going to be taking any questions, but I'll be happy to take some questions.
Laura, can you talk about the context of this assault? What, where, when, what occasion?
The question is, can I speak about the context of this alleged assault? No.
Gloria, can you just speak on, I know it's difficult for your client going through this, but what prompted her to come forward now?
It was time to file this lawsuit.
Gloria, what do you know about the video that was allegedly recorded during the alleged violation?
Question is, what do I know about the video that was recorded?
Yeah, what do you know? Where is it now? Is it still? Where is the video?
Yeah. There are many details in the complaint. The complaint alleges that it was taken without her knowledge and consent, that she wouldn't have consented, that it was then published and viewed by others, and may still be out there being viewed.
Gloria, did the allegations in this complaint overlap in any way with the criminal charges against Mr. Combs?
The question is, does this complaint overlap with the criminal charges that have been filed? My understanding of the criminal charges are that the charges are sex trafficking, RICO, and transportation of a prostitute. We are not alleging any of those criminal charges in our complaint.
Has she been in touch with federal prosecutors at all?
Question is, have I been in touch?
Has you or your client been in touch with federal prosecutors about her allegation?
About this? I have no comment.
Gloria, what about a grand jury?
Pardon me?
Grand jury, federal prosecutors, or grand jury, has Ms. Graves spoke to either?
Is the question, has she testified before the grand jury? Is that the question?
Yes.
Let's put it this way. I never comment on whether any of my clients have testified before the grand jury or will testify before the grand jury, since the grand jury is a secret proceeding.
Gloria, this other defendant in the video, alleged defendant, is this a celebrity?
Is the other defendant alleged to be in the video, and what was the remainder of your question?
Is that person, that alleged defendant, is that person a celebrity?
Is the person that has not been named by me a celebrity? Not as far as I know.
Gloria, as disturbing as the video may be, have you yourself laid eyes on the video?
Have I looked at the video? No. I have not viewed the video, nor do I wish to view the video, nor should anyone else view the video, with the exception of if law enforcement and a court believe that they should and are permitted to view a pornographic video as evidence in the case. If they have it, then that would be it.
Gloria, just to be clear,
We don't ever view pornographic videos, even if they might end up being evidence in the case, and we do not transmit any such video, if we have it, to any other person, because we do not think it is permitted under the law.
Gloria, Elizabeth Wagmeister from CNN.
Would you please speak up? It's hard to hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back here and a bit short. In the complaint, you noted that your client learned about this video in November 2023. That is around the time of the first public lawsuit, at least, against Sean Combs from his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. I'm curious how you and your client learned about the existence of this video.
So wow, so and I'm wondering how this video, like in 2001, are there even, you can't record shit on your phone in terms of video, right? So there's a video of sex that happened in 2001. I would have to assume that it was probably a camcorder or some type of standalone camera device that recorded it. And subsequently, this must have been for, well, you'll see the allegations when I pull up the lawsuit. This was part of Diddy's little war chest. Like Diddy was really, not war chest, but like this was like one of his freak tapes that he probably kept. I'm wondering how they got a hold of it.
Saying that this incident is alleged to have occurred about the time of another lawsuit having been filed? I'm sorry, I can't understand your question.
Per the complaint, this alleged incident occurred in 2001, but your client learned about the existence of the video in 2023, more than 20 years after. I'm curious how she learned about the existence of that video.
Yeah, so the question is, she alleges that the incident took place in 2001, but you are saying that it is alleged in the complaint that was filed that she learned about it in 2022. And then the question is, how did she learn about it? We have no comment in response to that question.
Gloria, has Diddy reached out to your client?
Excuse me?
Has Diddy reached out to your client?
Question is, has Diddy reached out to her? I think we will not comment on that either.
Gloria, I know this is very difficult for your client, but would you be able to share a little bit of her background? Where did she come from? What did she do? Can you give us some details about your client, please?
No, I can't provide further details about where she came from or what she does.
Gloria, to your knowledge, has any law enforcement agency reviewed this video for possible criminal charges?
So is the question, has any criminal law enforcement, is the question, has any law enforcement agency
viewed the video for possible criminal
viewed
charges?
the video? I'm not able to answer that question.
All right. We're going to still finish the video. Let me just give you my thoughts. Again, these are only my thoughts. I'm going to be very respectful because I do want to, again, as with any civil case, these are allegations that will hopefully be argued in a court. But also the standard in that court is definitely different than a criminal court. Anyway, here's the point. This sounds like cap to me. I'm just gonna be honest with you, bro. Like, I don't even got to, this sounds like cap to me, and I'm gonna tell you why it sounds like cap to me. I'm gonna be honest with you with all due respect, and I'm gonna, again, let me finish first. I'm saying sounds like cap to me. The over dramatization, the extra crying. The thing happened like 23 years ago, and I'm not saying that it's impossible that this woman isn't triggered by the fact she has to recount a bad memory that allegedly happened 23 years ago in front of the press and the media. That's a very good possibility. The reason why it sounds like cap is not necessarily because of the young lady. It's because of really, I feel like there's just a lack of other information that I think at this point we're in the end game, right? We're not at the point where people are speculating about Diddy. So here's the thing. If most allegations, you have to give the benefit of the doubt to the victim at this point, right? Like, I know this whole innocent until proven guilty. Diddy has a criminal case, 11 allegations. So you want to give this woman the benefit of the doubt, and I am giving her the benefit of the doubt. The reason I'm saying this cap is like, I don't expect her to answer questions, so let's take her out of it. But they're not giving us anything about this lawsuit. Like, again, we're in the end game, right? I mean, from the Little Rod lawsuit, who spelled out what he thought was going to be a RICO case, which eventually there was a RICO case. All these other people who have talked about law enforcement, it feels like they're very scarce with information, and I don't think that the scarcity of the information or the scarcity of answers for the questions that the people are asking them is because they're trying to protect the integrity of the case. It feels like, again, this is a gut test. It just doesn't feel like this lawsuit has too much. Now, if you ask me, did Diddy have sex with this woman? I think he did. Now, based on what we know about Diddy, do you think that could have been an abusive, sex trafficking, maybe assaultive type of sexual experience? Again, we're going off just history, and where there's smoke, there's fire. You can't rule that out. So you can't call her a liar necessarily. But this lawsuit just kind of also reeks of. So you're telling me that you filed this lawsuit in the end game when you found out about it in November 2023. Cassie's lawsuit drops then. He pays Cassie out. 9 other victims come forward. Then he gets criminal charges. And then when he's locked up for a week, I don't know. It stinks. But Diddy didn't do himself any favors. So we can't just say it's fully cap. We have to say maybe the details of the lawsuit is trumped up, but it's one of those things where you have to be in the state of mind that if they said Diddy did it and Diddy was around those people, maybe the motherfucker did it. Truth be told. Anyway.
Your client says that she was threatened after this alleged attack. Can you elaborate on those threats?
Also, by the way, Gloria Allred, a pro. Maybe she's dodging these questions intentionally, and maybe the feds have been in contact with this woman. I don't know, but she is being pretty vague.
Question is, can I elaborate on the allegation that she was threatened after the attacks? And no, because really I'm not able to comment on or expand upon any evidence or anything that might have evidentiary value at this time.
Gloria, there's an allegation in the lawsuit that the video was made available for sale. Can you elaborate on that? And was Mr. Combs released?
There's an allegation that the video was made available to whom?
For sale?
That was made available for sale.
Correct. Yeah. That's new. There have been other accusers, other women who have said that they believe they were filmed and that the videos were shared, but I think this might be the first complaint allegation that the video was made available for sale somehow.
I have not compared what we have alleged in the lawsuit to what others have previously alleged in their lawsuits. So I can't tell you whether this is the first that has alleged that this video was made available for sale or not.
Would Mr. Combs be involved in that alleged sale?
Yeah. There are no other details that we can provide
So you
in
filed,
reference to the videos.
so you filed it today, right? About this today, right?
Yes, the lawsuit was filed this morning. And we have a case number, which I have provided, and we will pass around and provide my statement, which includes the case number. And this is part of the first page of the complaint. So you want to stand up and hold this? It's just, are you okay? Want to stand up? Are you able to? Here. And there is a redaction on what we're showing you. So just to tell you.
And to your right, please.
This is the first page in part and redacted.
Dahlia, to your left, please.
Pardon me?
Dahlia, on your right, if you both can look at this. Thank you. Thank you. And right below her.
Oh, okay.
It's right ahead.
And one more this way, please.
And I'll leave this on the table afterwards.
Gloria, there's a few networks here that.
Right, attorney Gloria Allred there announcing that lawsuit that was just filed today with her client against Sean Diddy Combs. It looks like possible, maybe more questions. So let's listen in right here on Live Now.
Speak some Spanish. Would she be able to give us a few words in Spanish?
You speak Spanish?
I don't want to say what words.
Pardon me? No. No, she
Can you
can't.
please pronounce her name on camera just so we have the correct?
Do you want to pronounce her name?
Talia Graves.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Gloria, are you in contact with the person who told your client about the video described in the lawsuit?
We cannot disclose who we're in contact with in order to have investigated this claim or any investigation that may ensue after this press conference.
Gloria, just
I want to add that if any other person has any evidence that might relate to our complaint, we, of course, would be happy to speak on a confidential basis with any person who may wish to contact us and provide us whatever evidence they wish to provide, and we would thank them for it.
What the fuck? What was that?
And that he has been arraigned. Okay. Do you want to comment? Well, no, we're not having her comment. I'm sorry. I would say overall it's been a very stressful and anxiety-producing experience, and she's lived with all of it for many years, and, you know, is reliving it now. I think she did comment on how she felt about the criminal charges at the end of her statement, and I'm not going to ask her to answer any other questions. With all due respect, it's a fair question, but she's just not going to be answering questions today.
Gloria, can you tell us how your client came to meet Diddy?
How can I tell you how my client
met Diddy?
Met Diddy? I am not going to expand.
Oh my God, they're just not saying nothing. All right, let's get to the criminal, or not criminal, the civil complaint. We got to hear people. Here's the civil complaint. I'm gonna read through this and get through this quite expeditiously. Let's figure out what we need to figure out. Okay, cool. So this is, by the way, it's unredacted too. Apparently they redacted at first the head of security's name. The two people that are sued are Sean Combs and the head of security, allegedly. His name is Joseph Sherman. It's unredacted in the file version. Anyway, let's get to, and let me make this a little bit smaller that we could read through it. All right. So, basically, in around the summer of 2001, the plaintiff's life was violently knocked off course when defendant Sean Combs and Joseph Sherman viciously R-worded her at the Bad Boy Studio in New York City. The plaintiff was 25 at the time. So let's do the math. She's 25 in 2001. We're now 23 years later. 25 then, 25 plus 23, that's 48. So she's 48 now. Okay, so she's 48 at the time, and she was dating one of Combs' employees, a relationship that Combs exploited to lure the plaintiff into meeting him and Sherman alone. Now, which Combs employee was she dating? Doesn't say. Hopefully they say later. Once they successfully sequestered the plaintiff, the Combs and his bodyguard gave her a drink. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is the problem with, like, when you get these mass lawsuits. And again, I don't want to invalidate anyone's story. Diddy's a piece of shit. At this point, we do have to, just to be honest, we can't say nobody's lying. We can't be like, oh, there's a money grab. This guy just, he might have done all this shit. So we can't even shoot him any bail. But these stories are eerily similar, and they're either, you know, when it comes to like civil suits, sometimes you just copy what the last person said, right? Or maybe that's just Diddy's MO. Now, I keep hearing, even when they sued her son, you hear there's a laced drink. Now, granted, here's the thing too. There's no way to test if this is a thing, right? Like, we can't prove 23 years later if you got a drink laced. But anyway, unless you went to the police afterwards. Anyway, once sequestered, they gave her a drink, likely laced with a drug that eventually caused her to briefly lose consciousness. She awoke to find herself bound and restrained. Combs and Sherman proceeded to brutally sexually abuse and violate the plaintiffs. Combs mercilessly R-worded her anally and vaginally. Sherman forcefully slammed the plaintiff onto a table, slapped her, repeatedly thrust his penis in her mouth. Both men were undeterred by the plaintiff's cry for help during the attack. Plaintiff never recovered from the defendant's violent R-word. She has suicidal thoughts and ideation and has received extensive psychological treatment because of the defendant's attack. For a decade, she remained silent and did not report the crime out of fear the defendants would use their power to ruin her life, as they repeatedly, explicitly threatened to do. To this day, plaintiffs suffer from severe depression, anxiety, and panic attacks, and still lives in fear of the defendants. Any progress plaintiff has made in healing from the attack over the years was dramatically reversed around November 27, 2023, when she learned for the first time that Diddy and the guy had video recorded the horrific R-worded event 22 years before, and has shown the video to multiple men seeking to publicly degrade and humiliate both the plaintiff and her boyfriend. Plaintiff could not believe the defendant would record themselves committing such gruesome crime, and then proceed proudly to widely disseminate the recording of it. She was distraught and sunk into a deep depression. She again considered ended her life. The action seeks redress for the defendant's brutalizing, misogynistic, and violent attacks on the plaintiff, started in 2001 with the grape, and continuing in the subsequent years as they compounded her humiliation by showing the video of the assault to others. The plaintiff is a female who resides in Harris County, Texas, pretty much Houston. Defendant Sean Combs is a male, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. This is just describing the guy. And then this is the defendant Joseph Sherman. Big Joe is a male who, on information and belief, resides in Westchester County. Upon information and belief, he was employed by Combs during that period. The facts, okay, yeah, okay. All right, so that's the bodyguard. They're talking about all the defendants, which are his companies at that point. So let's skip. Jurisdiction and venue, we can skip that. Factual allegations, the plaintiff immigrated to New York City when the plaintiff was a teenager in connection with her mother's work. Her family ultimately settled in RICO Park, where she completed her education. Combs was known by the name Puff Daddy P. Diddy, Puffy Diddy, Brother Love, or Love is a prominent rapper. Okay, we know all that. All right, they owned fashion line Sean John, Ciroc, cable media company Revolt, as detailed below. He has and this is where these civil suits always do. They piggyback off other civil suits in a sense. They're like, he has a long history of violence and abusing and R-wording women. Again, that history would have only been documented via civil lawsuits that have been filed, which are allegations. And there have been several civil lawsuits filed against Combs in the past year alleging sexual violence and abuse. On September 16, 2024, Combs was arrested. They're just the same factual stuff. Okay. Defendant Sherman was also known as Big Joe. He was employed by Combs as his bodyguard and head of security during the relevant time period described herein and served in various roles in the Combs Corporation. He was the founder of Rhymes and Dimes magazine, Inc., a New York State registered corporation, and through or in connection with the company produces and distributes pornography. Upon information, okay, Jesus Christ. Okay, so back to 2001, the plaintiff receives a call from Combs concerning her boyfriend's employment at Bad Boy. Okay, that's a little bit odd. If your boyfriend is working for Diddy, why would Diddy call you? But okay, let's see if that happened. He told her he wanted to meet with her in person to discuss her boyfriend's supposed performance issues. That's a little bit odd. If I'm working for if say my girlfriend's working for some company, why would I get a call about her performance? But whatever, cool. Her boyfriend was determined to climb up the ladder at Combs' record label, and as his romantic partner, the plaintiff was committed to helping him. The plaintiff agreed to meet with Combs. In retrospect, it was evident a sick and twisted way of using his ownership and title at Bad Boy and the affiliate entities to abuse the plaintiff and show his power and ability to humiliate her boyfriend, his executive. Okay, never mind. So an executive at the time was her boyfriend. Let's see if we could figure out who that was. Thalia Graves' boyfriend. Who's her boyfriend? They don't name the executive. Okay. We'll hopefully find out. All right, cool. A few hours later, Combs arrived at the plaintiff's mother's residence. Why would you go to your executive's girlfriend's mother's house if you had no relationship with her? That's odd. A few hours later, Diddy goes to the plaintiff's mother's residence in Queen with Sherman, his bodyguard, who was employed at the time. He was driving an SUV and Combs was in the back seat. After the plaintiff entered the vehicle, I guess she hopped in the vehicle, Combs offered her a glass of wine. She accepted. Combs began to discuss the alleged concern about her boyfriend's performance at work. Meanwhile, the plaintiff drank what had been handed to her. She started to feel a little bit lightheaded, dizzy, and physically weak. In retrospect, it's clear that Combs had caused a drug to be put in the plaintiff's drink, as a few sips of wine had never impacted her that way. Combs and Sherman drove the plaintiff to Bad Boy Studio in Manhattan. When they arrived, and plaintiff tried to get out the car, she realized she was feeling odd and found it difficult to walk. She assumed this was her fault and did her best to act normal and follow Combs as he led her to a couch in a private room in the Bad Boy Studio. She came to understand this was Combs' personal lounge and office in Bad Boy Studio. Combs sat on the couch next to the plaintiff and continued to speak into her. Plaintiff began feeling more woozy and sedated. She lost consciousness. When she regained consciousness, she was naked and her hands were tied behind her with what felt like a plastic grocery bag. She shouted for help. In response, Sherman lifted her up from the couch and forcefully slammed her face on what was apparently a pool table. Shortly after, Combs entered the room naked. Combs reached for a container of lubricant that smelled like menthol and proceeded to apply to his penis. He then bent the plaintiff over the table, causing her feet to dangle above the floor, forcefully held her down, and anally penetrated her without consent. Plaintiff is 4'11" and weighed only 103 pounds at the time. The plaintiff was unable to move, totally overpowered physically, in addition to being drugged and bound. The plaintiff screamed out in pain, but Combs continually to violently, anally R-word her. He easily physically overpowered her, smashing her head down on the pool table while she futilely tried to wiggle out from underneath him. During the brutal attack, the plaintiff vomited in her mouth and on the table. At one point, she involuntarily defecated. Combs was undeterred. He wiped himself off. So I guess she shit on his dick? What? He wiped himself off, applied more lubricant, and without any acknowledgement of the plaintiff's distress, proceeded to vaginally penetrate the plaintiff. The plaintiff experienced intense pain and burning sensation in her vagina and anus. The plaintiff continued to scream for help because of the extreme pain as she felt Combs penetrating her over and over. She lost consciousness again. The next time she regained consciousness, the plaintiff was on the couch and Sherman was standing in front of her with his bare penis in her face. Sherman slapped the plaintiff in her face and forcefully inserted his penis in her mouth. Sherman slapped her yet again and continued to thrust his penis in the plaintiff's mouth. Plaintiff once again lost consciousness. When she awoke, plaintiff was on the couch naked and alone in the room. Plaintiff was in severe pain and distress. Her anus and vagina burned, her face and wrists were bruised, and her genital area smelled strong of menthol. She felt a liquid, presumably semen, dripping from out inside of her. Her dress was thrown over to her, her purse was on the couch next to her, and her bra was on the floor nearby. She did not see her underpants. Terrified that Combs and Sherman would return, she quickly got dressed and bolted out the studio where she had been R-worded. Still dizzy and weak, the plaintiff called a cab driver, that her family regularly hired and knew well. The driver picked her up from outside the Bad Boy studio. She was disheveled, crying uncontrollably, and suffering from agonizing pain. The driver drove her to a hospital and tried to convince her to report the R word and get a R kit, but she was unable to leave the car, shaking and crying hysterically, and was terrified of what Combs would do to her and her family if she reported him. Now this is the aftermath. They sustained serious physical injuries after the R word. As noted, she had burn in her vagina and anus, bruising on her wrist and face, and in the days after the assault, she suffered from prolonged anal bleeding and hemorrhoids. Because of Combs' power and notoriety, the plaintiff was afraid to report what had happened. She was involved in a contentious divorce and custody battle at the time, and feared that the report in the R word could cause her to lose custody of her young child. I'm trying to make sense of this. So she has a husband, but she's divorcing a husband, and then she's dating a guy who works at Diddy's. The dude works at Diddy's Bad Boy Records label, and then even after that, she still hung out with Diddy alone. Whatever. All right, cool. The plaintiff confided in her boyfriend, Combs' employee, hoping that he would comfort and support her, but instead of supporting her and discourage her from disclosing the assault, telling her it could negatively impact his own career. She has to name this guy. Name the guy. So you're saying, just think about it, Chad. Your girlfriend comes to you and tells you your boss just sexually assaulted her, and you tell her, shut up. Don't say nothing. Then, not only is your boyfriend protecting this guy who did some shit to you, you're protecting him 23 years later by not naming him in the lawsuit so far. Following the assault and multiple times over the year, both Combs and Sherman contacted the plaintiff and warned her to be silent, threatening repercussions, including plaintiffs potentially losing custody of her child or her son if she ever discussed the assault. Because of their enormous power in the industry, including the ownership and positions at Combs corporations. Plaintiff knew if they could follow through with their threats. Plaintiff told the close friends that Diddy and Sherman had drugged and R-worded her, but as noted, was scared to report to the police out of fear that the defendants would follow through on their threats. She was even afraid to stay in New York City while Combs lived there, so with the help of a friend, she fled to Pennsylvania. Plaintiff has, in fact, relocated multiple times throughout the years in an effort to stay away from Combs. The plaintiff has suffered irreparable harm because of the brutal R-word by defendant Combs and Sherman. She suffers from severe depressions and post-traumatic stress disorder. She has also suffered from suicidal ideation and intrusive thoughts and has attempted to end her life. Plaintiff has lives constantly in fear. She struggles with hypervigilance and experiences anxiety and panic attacks in social settings. Preferring to be alone, her need to hide to feel safe has strained her relationships with friends and family. The R-word has impacted the plaintiff's ability to engage in sexual acts with her intimate partners. To this day, she cannot be in certain sexual positions without experiencing flashbacks of Combs violently penetrating her from behind. The plaintiffs now learn about that the R-word video was being seen and published. On around November 27, 2023, all trauma of the R-word came flooding back when the plaintiff and her boyfriend, to the plaintiff, one of her former boyfriend revealed to her for the first time that Combs and Sherman had recorded and published a video of the horrific attack. Earlier that month, Cassie had come forward and filed a lawsuit against Combs for blah, blah, blah. The case had been settled, wait. But sometime after the actual R-word itself, Combs and Sherman actually showed him and a group of men, some of who was employed by Combs, a video that the plaintiff being R-worded. Yeah, chat. I'm trying to make sense of this, but she's saying that, you know, in Cassie's lawsuit, I think she did allege that Diddy would show off videos of him having sex with women, and I guess she's saying that Cassie's lawsuit is proof that around that time, which I think they put an arbitrary date, because I think when Cassie files, it doesn't mean that that's when Diddy showed off the video. It just means that maybe that's when she has learned about that as per the complaint, right? Anyway. A Bad Boy artist later corroborated in a text message to Sherman saying, yo, you used to sell porn of him doing this to chicks, and Sherman did that to a lot of women. Plaintiff's former boyfriend reported that he and other men watched the recording of the plaintiff's R-word. Wow, what boyfriend would watch their girl getting R-worded on a video and not do nothing? Ugh. But the plaintiff's former boyfriend watched the video with other men on a handheld camera while at Bad Boy Studio in New York. Sherman and Combs and some of the other men made derogatory comments about the former boyfriend's relationship with the plaintiff in an attempt to shame and into cutting ties with the plaintiff to cause her further emotional harm and embarrassment. So they were slut shaming, or they were shaming the boyfriend and say, yo, bro, how could you wife up a girl like this? On information, believed that the defendants continued to show the video of the R-word over the years to the present and sold the videotape possibly. The plaintiff was shocked and horrified that Combs and Sherman had recorded and publicized a video of them R-wording her after 2 decades of trying to spend time, heal, and distance herself from the experience. She was devastated by the news. She felt as if her life had been turned upside down again, and like the R-word had been happening again and again, even if she was trying to forget it. She experienced acute psychological distress, plunging into a deep depression, having suicidal ideations. She felt, okay, cool. They then name all the other women who's filed lawsuits. I think this is Cassie, Joy Dickerson, Liza Garden. Then who is this? This is Jane Doe. So that's 4. Lil Rod, 5. Crystal McKinney, 6, Andrea English, 7, Dawn, 8, and obviously there were a few others that just wasn't following that precinct, including that guy who fought from jail. Remember that? Anyway, they talk about his arrest. Yeah, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I don't know, bro. I don't know. But here's the thing, man. Diddy has put himself in a pickle, pause, that we cannot, let me get my email off of that. We cannot vouch for this guy. And we have to assume that if something was alleged, he more than likely did it. Or if he knew the woman, maybe he had some type of freaky, kinky sex with this person that she could misinterpret to be something else. So, hey, obviously the press conference, I think, was over the top. I think that was to give some shock value to make all type of news. Her crying, you could be like, yo, how are you crying 23 years after the fact? I'm not going to use that against her because, think about it. Hey, she has to recount all those events. Now, the story doesn't sound like the greatest story if you're trying to just make sense of it. What guy watches a video of his girlfriend getting R-worded, even by your boss, but whatever. So we're going to see what happens with this, if it goes to court indeed, or if it gets tossed, right? We do have an update on Diddy here. Check this out.
And the update comes via our friend Larry Levine, who has a source close to the investigation. Larry is a former federal prisoner himself who served time at 11 institutions across 5 states and is founder and director of Wall Street Prison Consultants. He advises people who are about to face the same plight, and he joins me now live. Okay, Larry, spill the tea. What are you hearing about Diddy's eating?
Well, I got an inside source there at MDC, and if they knew who it was, they'd really plot. When people go into custody, they have anxiety, they're depressed, a lot of things go through their mind. And one of the things they do is they stop eating. They lose a lot of weight. Look at somebody coming out of prison. They look like a POW or something, that they've been through the ringer. Now, there's a collateral issue that may be here. Look what happened to Jeff Epstein. I got people every day saying, do you think they're going to Epstein him? And I go, well, I really don't know. But they can't have this guy do a suicide. It would look kind of funny. Now, imagine if somebody got to one of the correctional officers, and this could happen. They don't make a lot of money. And there's people out there that he has things on that do have a substantial amount of money. Imagine if someone paid someone off on the inside to actually poison his food, give him a heart attack, and he dies. And no one would really think anything of it. So that may be one of the reasons he's not eating. He's really, really paranoid. He's really, really scared. He doesn't know what to think. He doesn't know who to trust or what to believe. Then he had a religious visit also, and a dietitian come talk to him. Now, there's a possibility that he wants to go on a kosher diet. It's prepared a little bit differently. It's a religious diet. That could be another aspect as well. But I remember when I first went into custody at MDC Los Angeles. And
okay, I'll pause it real quick. They're saying there's a source that Diddy is not eating. I don't think that's, sometimes that could be a sign of protest, a sign that, they don't like the conditions. I would think that it's more likely Diddy not yet adjusted to the food. So, he's going to go at least initially as long as he can without eating. They're not giving him the best of meals, so he's just trying to not do, not trying to eat as much. But of course, at a point, he's going to get hungry enough, and he's going to, even if he has to pick at one or two things, he's going to be able to do it, right? So, essentially, I definitely believe that, he's not eating as much, but I don't think it's because he's upset. I think it's because he's adjusting.
I didn't eat for a couple of days, but this guy's been there about a week now, so he should be in a routine. And there's just so much, Ashley, there is so much disinformation that comes out. Like he has to get up at 6 o'clock to make his bed and mop his cell. That's for a regular housing unit at MDC. He's not getting out of the shoe. he doesn't have to make his bed, really. He's probably laying in bed all day long, just stewing and thinking. So the situation and the conditions for him are completely different than it would be for a regular inmate. So
talk to me, Larry, about. Talk to me about the potential that this could be a protest, because, Ghislaine Maxwell famously said some pretty strident things about the MDC Brooklyn lockup and the food and how terrible it was, and that she had been losing a ton of weight. Is it possible this is a protest?
Well, at several BOP institutions, Federal Bureau of Prisons institutions across the country, there's food strikes going on where people are refusing to eat because of the quality of the food and the way they're being treated. And that could have carried over to MDC. But on the other hand, he's sitting in the shoe. How did he hear about it? Unless he bought the little overpriced Sony Walkman radio. I bet they let him have that. Or maybe he talked to somebody on the phone on a limited call that told him, yeah, they're having a hunger strike, and he's joining in that. Remember, the food is bland. The food is a lot of carbohydrates. It's kind of it fills you up, but you get sick eating it. I mean, there's mold in a lot of that food. The food coming to him is cold. It's not coming to him warm like it would be in a regular housing unit, because they feed the people in the shoe last. Maybe he got sick from the food. That's another possibility. I mean, they may actually be moving him. Maybe he's concerned in his life.
Yeah, so, I would imagine, and by the way, I don't know if his lawyer has spoken on this, but I would imagine that they're going to act like Diddy's either, suffering in there, can't eat, dietary needs can't be fulfilled, has some extenuating circumstances when it comes to his health, that he needs a better situation. Again, I'm not that familiar with every particular, jail. Obviously, I haven't been to these places. But from what I have been told, Essex County Jail in New Jersey is a much nicer jail, and a jail that has housed federal inmates while they await their trial. And it's usually, just a more comfortable gig. To put in perspective, Casanova was at MDC Brooklyn for a while, and then they sent him to Essex County, even though subsequently I think he was involved in like some fight where supposedly he was cut in the face. Apparently, it's just a better place to be. So Diddy's actually, his lawyers are pushing for him to get sent to, so I'll show you MDC Brooklyn. Looks like this, obviously it's the middle of the fucking city, or, it looks like this. It looks like an office building, except it's just really tightly crammed rooms. And even if it has a wing for like special people like Diddy, it's only so much. Now, where he wants to get moved to is Essex County Jail. It's in Newark. And, wow, I don't know why this looks like, I guess this is the old one. Jesus Christ, this looks bad. This is the old one. This is the abandoned one. This is the new one here. Where is it at? Yeah, so this is a new one. I don't know if we can find conditions in that. Essex County Jail, Newark cells. I guess they have an abandoned one. Now, this is like a common area. Obviously, Diddy wouldn't be in a common area because he's in protective custody. So he's pretty much just sitting in his room all day, right? I'm trying to see if we could show what a jail cell looks like. Jail cell. Don't know if we have like an inside the jail, like jail cell look. I don't think it's gonna be bars. I think it's gonna be like fuck. Yeah, probably like this. Probably something like this, right? I don't know. I'm trying to get like a better picture of where he's trying to move to. From what I've been told, MDC Brooklyn jail cells. These look like supposedly here. So I know the other shit don't look like a 5-star resort, but apparently in MDC Brooklyn, you're dealing with this, right? A lot of you're not dealing with the finest of situations. Yeah, these cells are kind of ran down if you ask a lot of people. Yeah. Anyway.
Do you know,
as I said,
do you know,
about
Larry, if he's
somebody
still on
killing him.
suicide watch? Is he still on suicide watch?
He's still on suicide watch. The shrink is coming to see him several times a day, and at MDC they hand out psych meds like they're handing out M&Ms. So I don't know if he's taking them, but they're certainly available to him. I took them in MDC one time because I was having problems sleeping. And after I took it one time, you play a lot of chess in there, you do a lot of reading. I wasn't able to engage anybody. I couldn't think. I turned into a zombie, and after taking it one time, I stopped taking them.
Okay, cool. By the way, real quick, I want to draw your attention to a post by Quincy. So, I'm not going to lie, you have to feel a little bit bad for the family of Diddy because, some of these individuals have nothing to do with what he's accused of, but, they're all kind of getting dragged through the mud by mere association. Now, if you guys don't know, essentially there's a book that has ran its course to #1 on Amazon. Now, this book is alleged to be the memoir of Kim Porter, if you don't know, one of Diddy's baby mama who died tragically and suddenly. And some people believe that her death should be reinvestigated because Diddy was abusive to her, allegedly, and they feel like maybe Diddy got her killed. Like, just to be very clear. I believe the twins, that's their mom. And what ended up happening is that today, give me one second. The supposed author of this memoir that made it all the way to #1, made it #1 on Amazon, that person came out and literally said, hey, the memoir, which everyone, there was a long time rumor saying there was a, memoir that she was working on before she died, so people thought it was her words. Apparently, the person who wrote the memoir, the dude came out and said, I'm not even sure if the story is real. But he says, it's real enough for me, so I didn't ask too much questions. So the person who's put it out claimed they don't even know if that was really written by Kim Porter. Let's read. Chris Todd released a project under an alias, Jamal T. Millwood, that featured no previous works. Most people took the books and salacious claims as facts, or at least close to it, with several grammatical errors. Some remained unsure. Todd has now spoken to Rolling Stone and surprisingly revealed that he cannot confirm if anything in the book is true. Apparently, he wasn't even able to fact check anything with celebrities mentioned in the book, though he claimed to be an investigative journalist. If somebody put my feet to the fire and said, life or death, is that book real? I have to say I don't know. But it's real enough to me, Todd says. Sometimes you just have to put it out there. Maybe it's not 100% of the book is true, but maybe 80% is. That is to get to those people to come forward or either corroborate or deny these claims, and helps me as an investigator know the truth. They're claiming the book comes from details that were on flash drives given to him by 2 musical industry sources. They said they had her flash drives. I didn't ask too much questions about how they got it or where it came from. To give more context, he claimed he solved other hip-hop pop culture murders. Now, basically him saying he don't know if what he put out is actually true came with some response from people close to the family. First and foremost, there was a post or a message sent. Let me see. The children of the Kim Porter, which are the twins, say that their mother wrote a book. I think this is Christian's mom as well. I could be wrong. They said their mother wrote a book. No, sorry. The children of Kim Porter deny reports that their mother wrote a book. Any so-called friend speaking on behalf of our mother is not a friend. They said, we have seen so many hurtful and false rumors circulating about our parents, Kim Porter and Sean Combs' relationship, as well as about our mom's tragic passing, that we feel the need to speak out. This was put out, by the way, is a joint statement. Quincy, Christian, Jesse, and Delilah. So those are the twins, and Christian Combs and Quincy was a part of this. They said, we have seen so many hurtful and false rumors circulating about our parents, Kim Porter and Sean Combs' relationship, as well as our mom's tragic passing, that we feel the need to speak out. Claims that our mom wrote a book are simply untrue. She did not, and anyone claiming to have a manuscript is misrepresenting themselves. Additionally, please understand that any so-called friend speaking on behalf of our mom and her family is not a friend, nor do they have our best interests at heart. Our lives were shattered when we lost our mom. She was our world, and nothing has been the same since she passed. While it has been incredibly difficult to reconcile how she could be taken from us so soon, the cause of her death has long been established. There was no foul play. Grief is a lifelong process, and we ask everyone's respect our request for peace as we continue to cope with their loss every day. We're deeply saddened that the world has made a spectacle of what has been the most tragic event of her life. Our mother should be remembered for her beautiful, strong, kind, and loving woman she was. Her memory should not be tainted by horrific conspiracy theories. We ask that everyone please respect our mother, Kim Porter, and hold her legacy in high regard. And so she may rest in peace. It is what she deserves. We love you and miss you, Mommy. Quincy, Christian, Jesse, and Delilah. Wow. Give me 1 second. Okay, what the heck is this? Just give me 1 second. Bullshit. All right. So yeah, they're basically saying, yo, cut the malarkey. Our mom died of exactly what was reported by the medical examiner. We're not believing in conspiracy theories. And if you keep saying that, you're not a friend of my mom. There was no manuscript. There was no book. You guys are pushing forth a narrative. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I actually believe them. I don't think they're lying. I think that people want to create some wild conspiracy theory that you know, she has this book that was saying all type of stuff about Diddy, and we've heard about a alleged book. Never heard about flash drives or a manuscript or anything so forth towards it. So now to hear it seems like they're piggybacking off the fact that Diddy is finally charged with some stuff. So I believe the kids, and I do believe that they should be left alone. Let Kim Porter rest in peace. It's okay to speculate and, you know, wonder if some of his violent behavior and disgusting behavior, we're talking about Diddy, also made its way to Kim Porter, but to make up lies that could hurt the kids, you know, of Kim Porter, I don't think you do Kim Porter any service with that. Again, if you're going to come with some shit, make it factual, if you ask me. All right? All right. Cool. We should, let me pull this up real quick. So, at the Forbes 30 on the 30, we have Metro Boomin, and good old Metro, man. Metro acting up, doing a whole bunch of nonsense. He has spoken, or there's a viral clip of him essentially speaking. Check this out. This is him speaking at Forbes under 30 or 30 under 30 a conference where he was asked about the beef between Drake and Kendrick and what it's done to the industry, and listen to his response.
You both feel like you're the best. It's like, okay, now we got to have a showdown. You know, we saw it with Jay-Z and Nas before, but I just feel like more today it's just more like stan culture. It's like, it makes it kind of weird. Because like back in the day, like Jay-Z and Nas went at it, but like I was a fan of both of them. You know, and most people were, and it was like, okay, it's okay. it's not like, okay, I hate this side, I hate this side. It's like, you know, the internet just makes it a little too wild now. But I feel like, you know, it's good for the game. And as far as me being diplomatic, I mean, it's just entertainment at the end of the day. And, you know, I have love and respect for all my collaborators. And, you know, I just want to see everybody do the best and continue to help push this forward. Because we're all here to, you know, deposit in and uplift this genre and push it forward. You know, this is our era, so it's really our responsibility to keep pushing it forward for the next one and so forth. You know, you both feel like you're the best. It's like,
yo, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. People like Metro piss me off. I hate fake niggas. I hate people who code switch, act like they're standing on business, but if they're asked, you know, when you're sending these smoke signals to black rappers, he's no different to me than Meek Mill. These guys send one message when they're talking to niggas, and when they get asked by a white man or a white woman, so what's going on there? They don't have the same energy. They try to downplay. No. Keep the same energy, okay? And I'm not saying you got to talk crazy, but the same energy is this. The same tweets that you sent out, once you pick a side, stay there. It sounds absolutely ridiculous when you say stan culture is ruining hip hop because these days people are picking a side. Bro, you literally told niggas to pick a side.
you know, and most people were, and it was like, okay, it's okay. It's not like, okay, I hate this side, I hate this side. It's like, you know, the internet just makes it a little too wild now, but I feel like, you know, it's good for the game. And as far as me being diplomatic, I mean, it's just entertainment at the end of the day. And, you know, I have love and respect.
So essentially this guy who is doing the epitome of picking a side, or he told people to pick a side, he's now saying fans shouldn't pick a side, and that's what's the problem. Somebody said, well, what about code switching with Drake in an accent? That's not, when I'm talking about code switching, I'm not talking about using different vernacular. That's not what I'm really getting at with a Metro Boomin. I'm getting at his message is changing. This is the guy, like, you can never respect the guy who talks super tough, and then when asking by another person in another venue, he's playing victim. Like, don't play bully and victim, right? And I think that's the problem with the messaging that Metro's saying. It's okay to say, hey, listen, yo, we're doing music, it's competitive, we don't gotta all get along. I don't think it's violent at all. Hey, listen, pick a side. It is what it is. So again, I'm not gonna take anything from Metro any too serious. I think Metro in this entire beef has played it like a coward. He's the guy who instigated other men to handle his beef because he was too weak to deal with it himself, right? You know, he had a problem with Drake. Allegedly, Drake piped, yo, bitch, you're upset. You took Drake off of trance. You had a problem, right? But instead of dealing with your issues like a man, you recruited Future, who basically told the whole world he would shoot anybody for you. And obviously it's a figurative talk, you know, if Metro don't trust you, right? The Weeknd, all these other people, and obviously it was powered by XO, and then obviously Kendrick comes in. So again, for me, if anybody should stand on everything he said, the person who's seemingly the most polarizing in this is Metro. He told everybody to pick a side. Now he's saying that people are fucked up for picking a side. So I don't get it. But again, you know, I've always thought that his character has always been in question. I've thought that this nigga's been super weird since he would, you know what I mean? I told this grieving ass nigga, I said, nigga, get back to grieving and leave Big Ack alone. I don't got time for that. And ever since then, I've only seen passive-aggressive pot shots that everybody's had problems with. And, you know, to keep it real, I thought, you know, Drake and him went back and forth. I still think Metro shut your ass up and make some drums is what it is. But sucker shit. This is just sucker shit right here. You know what I mean? Like, this is exactly why Drake tells The Weeknd and other people who ain't rapping, just make the drums shut up. Just sing falsetto. get out of here. Let's leave it to the people who are gonna talk with some bass in their voice and maybe at least say some stuff that they plan to defend. Okay, it is what it is, man. All right. Okay. So this clip went viral, which I actually thought this was new, but this was actually not new. So a clip went viral supposedly of Tootie Raw, which is Boosie's son, and of course, what's the dude that looked like a platypus? King. By the way, King, shout out to you. Don't get mad at me. I'm not Drewski. I'm not. Please don't kill me. Anyway, they did a music video, and apparently during the music video, you know, just for some like a nice accessory, right, or a nice, you know, prop, they flashed a gun. Now I don't think I've seen a gun in this, but apparently the parents of both boys, obviously Boosie and TI, pulled up and gave a stern talking to their kids, or checked them, basically saying, yo, y'all grew up in a gated community. Please stop making videos showing guns. This was supposedly what ensued.
Man, like you treat yours.
Why y'all got so much time, bro? Why y'all always gotta have guns?
What is it about the guns, man?
It's not illegal to have guns.
Well, in the manner in which you portraying in the lifestyle, this shit don't look legitimate, sir.
Cause I'm not supporting no whole. I'm not.
Can't do it.
I'm not.
What kind of parent don't support their kids and they'll goddamn slide,
Guns
ride,
bigger than you.
popping it?
And then you got a gun in your book there?
So motherfucking 12 pull up and they say, hey, who do you belong to? Who raised their hand? Somebody got to raise their hand.
I've been seeing him around too there a lot.
You gonna raise your own hand?
I've been seeing him around too, my gun.
Huh?
Well, when you got drugs, it ain't illegal. I know that.
When y'all got drugs around those legal guns, they called
it's not legal.
Possession of a firearm and commission of a crime, sir. That is a felony.
Yeah.
Thank you. This shit ain't, hey man, this shit ain't free. This shit come out of court. I can't believe this shit, man. Why y'all, what happened to some motherfuckers? Why y'all don't make no motherfucking love music? You got girls out here. Why don't you talk about being in love, man? Why don't you talk about wanting to lay down and you know,
We got this.
treat mine like you treat yours.
Why y'all got so much time, bro? Why y'all always gotta have guns?
Okay. Now I did find the longer video. Apparently this is a year-old video, and now I'm actually believing this was maybe a skit rather than a real video. So this is a year ago. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I heard the song, chat. I agree with Tootie Raw and King. They did need a gun for this, to shoot the producer and the engineer who made this song. The song was terrible, bro. Trust me. They needed a gun, but they needed to just shoot whoever the fuck engineered it, made the song, produced it. Just kill that nigga, bro. Okay? Just kill that person, brother. Fuck the ops. Kill the niggas who allowed you to make this garbage. Come on, man.
Put it in motion. Fuck a good pussy wet as an ocean. Want the smoke, I'ma see you a notice. He come in your door like we leaving some groceries. Hey, goddamn. And these people ain't know who I am. I'm struggling for with the fact.
The reason why I think it's a skit. Boosie and TI ain't get along for a minute. Why would they both pull up together? The kids rock with each other, but Boosie and TI ain't get along for a minute. Why would they both pull up together? Unless maybe it was kind of like in the thing to pull up as a skit. I don't know.
She know who I am. I'ma flex with the shit on the ground. Got the whole stop and watch me on my spell. Goddamn, fucking up bitch from the ground. to that nigga, don't post on the ground. This shit free, tryna fuck on the ground. Nigga, fuck around and get caught like a ground.
Yeah, this is clearly a video. Look, the lights are there. They pull up in a car. The video was aimed at the street. They were gonna come down anywhere and eventually.
Hold on, goddamn, I need some gas for the lamps. Hey, goddamn, niggas talk always flex on the ground. Yo, that bitch at hometown. Hop in the bed and then hop in the lounge.
Yo, Boosie don't got no type of, speed walk in his motion, bro. No pep in his step. Let that nigga been walking to a Vlad TV interview where he about to get that 50 ball, that 50,000. Of course, he would have been power walking to that bitch. But Tootie Raw, I think he just realized he his daddy's son.
Hey, goddamn, yo, the bitch, she know who I am.
Hey, what the fuck going on out here? What the fuck you did? Who? That what you doing? On my car, you sitting on top of my motherfucking car, shooting motherfucking video? And what did you got up there with you? What is that? What is you? That ain't nothing, man. Shooting, what the fuck going on?
We just shooting. Why the fuck y'all got all them guns, bro? I always tell you about them damn guns. Who you finna go shoot right now? All these guns out here. Who the fuck you finna go shoot? Get your ass out of trouble.
Which one of y'all gonna take these charges? Who gonna take these charges? Y'all, who you gonna take? You gonna to prison too? You gonna go to prison too? Who gonna take these charges?
Yeah, this some barbershop 2 type of acting right here. This some killer season type of acting right here.
Somebody got to answer for it. Huh? Music, that ain't got nothing to do with music. That ain't got nothing to do with music. Ain't there y'all right here with the ladies? The ladies ain't, they stand up here by themselves. Y'all stand back there with the fellas and the pistol. What kind of vibes y'all got going here, man?
This shit crazy. Look, this ain't my house.
Yeah, this shit straight to Tubi, man. I ain't gonna lie to you.
This ain't my house. I put all y'all in.
Man, tell you something. Shit, nigga, man, do as you would if it were yours. Treat mine like you treat yours.
Why y'all got so much time, bro? Why y'all always gotta have guns?
What is it about the guns, man? Y'all understand that shit is...
Yo, T.I. look like he trying to get ATL 4. The way, T.I. is overacting in this shit.
This shit crazy. Look, this ain't my house. Look, this ain't my house.
Like Boosie laid back. T.I. is trying to, this nigga trying to Robert De Niro. He's trying to,
I put all y'all in.
Man, tell you something. Shit, nigga, man, do as you would if it were yours. Treat mine like you treat yours.
Why y'all got so much time, bro? Why y'all always gotta have guns?
What is it about the guns, man?
Guns.
Y'all understand that shit is the lab result. That shit is what you go to when don't nothing else work.
Yeah.
So that means you don't want to show it. You don't even want a motherfucker to know you got it. So they can get it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That ain't the way. You don't put that shit out there for the police and everybody else to see what you're doing, how you doing it. You don't do that shit.
It's not illegal to have guns.
Huh?
It's not illegal to have guns.
Well, in the manner in which you...
Hey, by the way, W skit, I mean, Tubi level acting, but still, W skit, I'm going to just still be honest with you. Bro, King, please, for the love of God, bro, just make country music like your brother, bro. I know when T.I. thinking about his kids, he definitely be like, he's so proud of this guy right here.
Yeah, the man T.I. And so you care. Give a little bit of time.
Good morning. This the one kid that was getting whoopings. That's the thing. T.I. was whooping this one. T.I. let the other kid, the high yellow one, go to by his grandma's house a little bit too much, man.
The trend in the lifestyle, this shit don't look legitimate, sir. It don't look legitimate.
Hey, is this whole album going? Every video on gunplay? Nah. Because I'm not supporting the whole. I'm not.
Can't do it.
I'm not.
What kind of parent don't support their kids and they'll goddamn slide,
Guns
ride,
bigger than you.
popping and what the fuck? What? Unnecessary. Unnecessary.
I was talking good for y'all.
And then they want to go on tour. They want to go on tour without these guns and shit. Man, they should have laughed at me, man. I can't believe it, man. And then you got a gun in your book there? So motherfucking 12 pull up and they say, hey, who do you belong to? Who raised their hand? Somebody got to raise their hand.
I've been seeing him around too there a lot.
You gonna raise your own hand?
I've been seeing him around too.
Huh?
Well, when you got drugs, it ain't.
I know that.
When y'all got drugs
You got a full
around those
crew.
legal guns,
That called
it's not legal.
possession of a firearm and commission of a crime, sir. That is a felony.
Yeah.
Banking.
Yeah. You been around too there a lot, man. You gotta talk. Yeah, you gonna be taking some licks, man. You been hanging.
This shit ain't, hey man, this shit ain't free. This shit come out of court. I can't believe this shit, man. Why don't y'all, what happened to some motherfuckers? Why y'all don't make no motherfucking love music? You got girls out here. Why don't you talk about being in love, man?
All right, okay. All right. Well, I think generally people are not that fond of, just T.I.'s son and even Boosie's son talking crazy on records. I'll admit to people in the chat, I don't think the song sounded exactly horrible, but you do know content to the song is going to matter. Like, my nigga, like, bruh, the moment we hear you talk about spinning and drilling and killing, we're going to look at you and be like, damn, bro, you had a butler. Like, I'm sorry. The guy who had a butler, a maid, and a chef can't tell me he's about to do this. It just doesn't seem believable. So, again, I'm pretty sure this is their father supporting their music career. And I think there's a little bit of truth and humor in this whole thing. Their fathers would probably love if they didn't promote certain type of stuff and take advantage of their privilege. And they could make music, but like, just do it in a way that's respectful, right? So, yeah. All right. So let me give you the update on what's going on in the Dolph trial, what happened actually today, right? So let me show y'all. What ended up happening today is... So two things. Number one, the stepbrother of this guy testified against him. So, it's real when your stepbrother testified against you. Let me try to speed this up a little bit that we could get to it.
My expedition.
Okay. We'll put this guy on the stand. Hold on.
Okay. All right. It's Justin Johnson. I've got a few questions for you, okay?
Yes, sir.
Kevin.
Okay. So, again, his half-brother, not stepbrother, his half-brother was charged with accessory to murder, which carries, I believe, like, either up to 7 years or like 12 years. Regardless, he took a plea and he's going to cooperate, which means he's essentially telling on the only defendant, which is his half-brother.
Good afternoon, Mr. Garner.
Good afternoon.
All right. My name's Luke Evans. I represent Justin Johnson. I've got a few questions for you, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, when you get to Bradley that night...
Oh, actually, no, that's not it. That's not it. This is the guy right here. Sorry. This is his brother.
Grew up in
Yeah. So this is his brother right here. Sorry, child. I'm just trying to get to the beginning of it.
For the record, William Johnson.
J-O-H.
Can you spell the first and last name for the record?
So his own brother is testifying against him. Hear this.
J-E-R-M-A-R-C-U-S.
William Johnson.
J-O-H-N-H-O-N.
We just have to do that for the court reporter. It's a legal thing. Mr. Johnson, you are actually charged in this case, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You are charged with taking possession of some of your brother's property after the Dolph killing, and for aiding him to communicate with another man by the name of Cornelius Smith after the Dolph killing. Okay? You have an attorney for that case, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And he's actually in the courtroom today.
Yes, sir.
You have pled guilty to being an accessory after the fact, several counts of that offense, for taking control over a car your brother was driving afterwards, for taking control over a phone that your brother had afterwards, and for helping him by using the phone communicate with.
Okay, so remember we got this from the other guy who was the killer, Cornelius, the guy who was telling. Basically, he said that he thought he was speaking to Justin Johnson, who was the accused, the only guy on trial at this point. But he wasn't. Basically, he would call a number. This guy was picking up, and he would patch in his brother on three-way. So it was a way to kind of like elude the cops, to make them think that the phone that was the number for Justin Johnson was still in Memphis, while Justin Johnson actually was out of Memphis and pretty much on the run. So he was connecting calls, and that's why he's an accessory.
Cornelius Smith. Is that right? And you've entered a guilty plea to those offenses, but you have not been sentenced yet. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Meaning that a judge has not had a hearing and told you what your sentence is going to be. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Have I told you that it's a very good idea for you to tell the truth, and that the truth could help you at whatever sentencing you have one day?
Yes, sir.
Now this building and this system is new to you, isn't it? Had you ever...
I need you to say yes or no.
Yes, ma'am.
She's recording.
Okay.
Thank you.
Had you ever been arrested before this case?
No, sir.
Ever been to 201 Poplar for court cases and stuff like this before this case? This was the first time?
Yes, sir.
And it's the only time? All right.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you about your brother, Justin Johnson. Okay?
Damn.
Do you see him in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
Can you point him out and tell me what he's wearing?
Wearing a gray sweater.
Okay. Is he seated here behind these two attorneys?
Mm-hmm.
Could the record reflect he's identified his brother, Justin Johnson?
Record so reflects he's identified the defendant in court today.
Chat, would you tell on your half brother, blood brother, full brother, whatever?
Now, how old are you, Jamarcus?
27.
And how old is your brother?
I think he's 25.
25? Okay. Is he your full brother?
We got the same dad, different moms.
Okay. Same dad, different mother, so half brother or whatever. As y'all grew up, did y'all actually grow up together in the same house every day?
No, sir.
You've described sort of how often you see your brother Justin. I liken it to something like me and my cousins or something. Does that sound about right?
Yes, sir.
So you grew up in a different household than your brother.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But you would see your brother from time to time? Is that?
Yes, sir.
Would you see him at family stuff?
Younger, yeah.
When you were younger? Okay. Like cousins or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to take you back to 2021, okay? November of 2021. Now, did you even know who Dolph was?
A rapper, yeah.
A rapper, okay. So you knew Dolph was a rapper?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you have anything to do with some sort of plan on the front end to kill Dolph?
No, sir.
Is that anything that you would ever be involved in?
No, sir.
Any sort of plan to kill other PRE? Do you know what PRE is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any plan to kill the other PRE artists or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay. In 2021, about how often would you talk or communicate with your brother, Justin?
Like every other week.
Like every other week?
Yes, sir.
In 2021, about how many times do you think you saw him that whole year?
Like 2 or 3 times.
Okay. So in all of 2021, you would have seen him 2 or 3 times. Does that sound about right? And you would have talked to him maybe once a week or every 2 weeks. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And again, just because the court reporter, like when you nod your head, I know what I know it, but we got the court reporter, okay? All right. So it'd be fair to say that y'all were not close.
Yeah. Nah, we were close, but we didn't talk all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, there's stuff going on. I got my stuff going.
Okay. Were his friends your friends?
No, sir.
Okay. So did you know the people he hung out with?
No, sir.
Did you know, for instance, Treon Ingram?
No, sir.
That name mean anything at all to you?
No, sir.
Okay. Where were you living in 2021?
I was 21.
When this happened?
When the murder happened?
When this time period that we're talking about, when Dolph got murdered, and when we hear later that Justin gives you his time?
Oh, the Harbor Apartments.
The Harbor Apartment? Now, what area of Memphis?
East Memphis.
All right, so you were living in East Memphis?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And for people that are not from here, there's downtown.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? There's Midtown that is next to downtown that includes Crosstown.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's South Memphis, there's North Memphis,
Yes, sir.
and then there's East Memphis.
Yes, sir.
And you were living out in East Memphis. Who were you living with?
I live with my mom and 2 sisters.
Okay. And
my
did you?
son, yeah.
You have a son, is that correct? And you have custody of your son. How old is your son now?
4.
Okay. And were you working back in 2021?
Yes, sir.
Where were you working?
I was working at Disney warehouse.
Okay, at the Disney warehouse. All right. Trying to support your son
Yes, sir.
and living in those apartments with your mom and your sisters.
Yes, sir.
Did there come a time after Dolph was killed that your brother Justin got in contact with you?
Yes, sir.
What was it about?
About bringing me a rental car.
About bringing you a rental car. Now, had you asked him for a car or anything?
No.
Okay, so this is, do you know what out of the blue means? Would this be something sort of out of the blue?
No, he knew I didn't have a car.
Okay, your brother would have known you didn't have a car.
Trying to speed up a little bit.
I didn't have a car.
Okay. And was not having a car hard for you?
Yes, sir.
Who had to drive you to the warehouse? Mother calls you about giving you a car. Like an hour later? At your apartment complex? Okay. What kind of car did he arrive in?
It was a white Chrysler.
Okay. You know what a Chrysler 200 or 300 looks like?
I think it was a 300.
Okay. Oh, they look similar, 200, 300, right? I was just asking, does it look like one of those things?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is he driving that car?
Yes, sir.
Does he have anybody with him?
There was some people in the truck.
What kind of truck is it? What color was the truck?
It was white.
A white truck? You say truck, you mean like a pickup truck, or do you mean like a big SUV?
It was a big SUV.
Big SUV? Okay. Do you know who the people were in the white SUV with him were?
No, sir.
Okay, what happens when he gets there?
Tell me you outside.
Okay.
Go outside, get in the car.
You get in the car with him?
He was quiet. He had 2 phones.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess he was just putting numbers in the phone and stuff.
He was in what?
He was like switching the numbers, putting numbers in the phone, another phone.
Okay, so he has 2 phones in front of you. And it looks like he's taking numbers from one and putting it in the other?
Yeah.
Okay, now had y'all talked about the phone or anything before?
No.
He was bringing your car. You're in the car. He's got two phones. Before this conversation about bringing your car and stuff, when was the last time you talked to him?
Probably like 2 or 3 weeks before that.
Okay. All right, so you meet him in the car, he's got the two phones, and he's going back and forth with the numbers. Were you asking what he's doing or what's going on?
He was just quiet.
Okay. And what are you doing?
I was on my phone.
Okay. So you're sitting there next to him, you're on your phone, he's doing his number stuff. What happens?
He tell me he was gonna give me the phone for like social media stuff.
Like that he's going to give you one of his two phones. Okay. And you said for social media stuff?
Yeah, post some pictures and checking your email and stuff like that.
Does your brother have social media?
Yeah, Instagram, yeah.
Okay. In fact, you know your brother, does he go by other names too?
Other than his real name, Straight Drop.
Okay. Straight Drop and sometimes just Drop?
Yeah, that's his real name.
Okay. And when you say give it to you for his social media, what do you mean by that?
Kind of like, I don't know, I guess he was just busy and he just needed me to keep up with like the people that was emailing for like these
Okay, so
producers, stuff like that.
All right, so let me back up. He gives you his phone because it's the.
So essentially, again, he's charged with basically texting for Justin, trying to cover up or make it appear that this guy's still in town, and he's talking about pretty much how they did this, and they met up, and the dude looked like he was copying down some numbers to another phone, and he gave him the phone that he could handle some social media stuff and potentially take calls to reroute to him.
The idea that people may be calling or texting or messaging him?
You can say that, but it was just, mainly he just told me that he needed me like to post some stuff.
Okay, so he told you the time that he needed you to use his phone to maybe post some stuff to his social media. Is that
like videos, all that stuff?
Okay. Did you ask him why he couldn't do this himself with his phone?
No.
Okay, but he has this phone in his hand. And he's going to give it to you, and you already have a phone. You don't need a phone.
No, I don't.
The car sounds good. And he wants you to have his phone and maybe post stuff to social media.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You don't ask him why?
No.
Does he provide any explanation?
Other than just for the social media stuff.
Okay. He doesn't say why he needs you to do this rather than him?
No, sir.
Does he tell you that he's getting out of town?
No, sir.
Does he tell you that he's got to lay low?
No, sir.
What happens after he gives you the phone?
Somebody was calling him, like rushing him to come on.
In the car there? So he's getting a phone call from while he's in there?
Yeah.
On one phone or the other, do you remember?
I don't know which one.
Okay. And so does that end y'all's little meeting?
Nah.
Okay. What happens?
He's still sitting in the car.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still doing the same thing with the phone.
So put numbers back and forth?
I mean, he just had both the phone. I wasn't looking to see what he was doing, but that's what it looked like he was doing.
Okay.
He was looking at both phones.
Once got done putting numbers or whatever he was doing with both phones at the same time, what happened?
Nah, I asked him, was he straight? And he said, yeah. Then they called again. Whoever it was called him again. And he was like, here he comes. So he got out the car. Then he got in the key. I went in the house.
Okay, so he gets out of the car? Did he get in that white SUV with those other people?
Yeah.
Okay, and you go into the house. And now you have a car that he's given you. All right.
Yes, sir.
And you have a telephone that was his.
Yes, sir.
After you get possession of this phone, do people start trying to contact him on this phone?
Yes, sir.
All right, but you have the phone.
Yes, sir.
So people call on the phone.
What happens when somebody contacts him on the phone that you have?
I'll text him and tell them that they called or text.
Okay, so if somebody calls him or texts him and you then text him or call him and say, so-and-so just texted or called you, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Were there ever times that somebody would call that phone and then you and your phone would call another phone and put them together so that they could talk?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you could aid in those sort of, sometimes we call them three-way or whatever, conversations between him and other people?
Yes, sir.
Among those sort of three-way conversations, did he ever talk to somebody identified as C?
The name in the phone was C girl.
Okay. And the voice, was it a male or a woman?
The one time that I did hear it, he would sound like
Sound like a dude. At the time, did you know who C was?
no, sir.
Do you now know that to be Cornelius?
Yes, sir.
Were you able to hear the conversation going on between Justin on one end of the line and Cornelius, since you all sort of three-way there?
Not like full conversation.
Not the full conversation. Were you able to hear some of the conversation?
Just a little bit. I wasn't really just listening.
Okay. You've been asked before whether or not you heard some of the conversation, correct?
Yes, sir.
And have you described part of the conversation having to do with money?
Yes, sir.
Having to do with getting money to C?
The text message.
The text messages?
Yeah.
And what was it about?
It was like, he just kept saying like, "What's up, bro? What's up, bro?" And stuff like that. And I was texting my brother, and I was telling him somebody texted me, and he was like, who he is and what he want. And then when I told him, he kept saying like he loved him and stuff like that. And then he said, have you talked to Uncle?
Okay. Did you know who Uncle was at that time?
I said, he said, talk to him. Then he said, if you talk to him, tell him I need some money for my little girl's birthday party.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did that make any sense to you?
I really don't care.
About money, though.
Mm-hmm.
The money that would be coming from Justin and Unc to this C person.
I don't think he was coming from the church. I think he was just coming from Unc.
Coming from Unc.
He was telling him to ask Unc.
Okay. So C was asking Justin to ask Unc where the money is. At the time, did you know who Unc was?
No.
At the time, had you ever even heard of Big Joke?
I knew who he was. Yeah.
Had you ever met him?
No.
You ever talked to him?
No, sir.
Okay, but you knew his name?
Yeah.
From the rap game and everything else?
Mm-hmm.
Did you use that phone like that? I mean, would various people text and call, and then you tell your brother, hey, so-and-so text and call?
It was only it was a couple people. Yeah.
A couple people? Okay. During the course of doing this, did your brother ever tell you where he was?
Talking about after he left from him.
He never told you where he was?
No, sir.
Okay. At some point, the police come to you, is that right?
Yes, sir.
They come to your apartment?
Yes, sir.
And they want something you got. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
They want that phone.
Yes, sir.
Your brother's phone.
Yes, sir.
And did you give them that phone?
Yes, sir.
And did you agree to go back to the station with them and be interviewed by the police? Did you do that?
They took me there.
They took you there, okay.
Yeah.
They took you there. You turned over the phone and told them about Justin Diddy to you.
Yes, sir.
Now, the original reason that he gave you for this phone was so you could do postings on social media and stuff.
Yes, sir.
Did you do postings on social media for him while he was gone?
Yes, sir. It was like 2 pictures.
Which 2 pictures?
It was like a picture of some food, like a restaurant.
Okay.
And another one was like some shoes.
Okay. So you posted 2 pictures for him. Which would be a picture of some fancy shoes?
Just some Jordans.
Some Jordans. And a picture of some food. And did he ask you to post those pictures?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you also follow his social media? Did you see the stuff he posted on social media?
Yes, sir.
Was he still posting stuff on his social media? Not just you? Like a picture of him in a Rolls Royce, or a picture of him holding tens and tens of thousands of dollars?
Like Not like around the time I posted those pictures.
I understand.
Further on down the line.
Further on down the line. Okay. Before he got arrested.
Yes, sir.
So that's not you posting those pictures. In fact, I think you had already, they had probably already had, the police already had the phone at that point.
Yes, sir.
Passenger exhibit 57 and 56. Tell me who's in this picture, if you would. I think you've seen those before, Mark, is that right?
Yeah.
Who's in those pictures?
Justin.
Your brother, Justin?
All right, so you guys kind of get a gist of this. He's basically corroborating the fact that he himself was the middleman in terms of fielding all calls for Justin Johnson after the killing. He was charged with accessory for murder. He basically seemed super cooperative. He handed over the phone. He didn't try to destroy it. He's up here basically telling everything he knows about his brother. Again, I don't know if you call this telling or what, but he's definitely cooperating against his brother. Okay. Now, we did have a few other people that did show up who kind of walked. I forgot who this guy is, but he walked everybody through the full day of what the hell Justin Johnson them did. Let me just go to this real quick. Here we go.
That type of vehicle with the damage that it has to it.
Okay. Because that made that vehicle distinctive.
Yeah, stand up.
Would it be fair to say that there's no still shot or camera angle which you can actually capture the suspect's entire faces?
No.
So from the first day, you do not have any type of facial identifications or anything of the two shooters?
No, we do not.
But you have clothing descriptions?
Clothing descriptions.
This might be a
gun
detective.
descriptions? Okay. And suspect vehicle. I meant to ask this earlier, but it makes sense now. So assault rifle like this can shoot 7.62 casings, is that right? A handgun like that can shoot 40 caliber casings?
It can.
If I've got casings that have been fired and then actually recover the guns, can I compare casings to guns and tell you, that 40 caliber casing came from that 40 caliber gun?
Yes.
And we see that on TV sort of all the time, is that right?
Yes.
Is that something you do, or is that something that's done by other people?
It's done by other people.
Is it first done routinely by a computer system and microscopes and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's just entered into the system that way.
Okay. And then later it can be sent to TBI or FBI or whoever to confirm that?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. In this case, did y'all ever recover handguns? Did you ever recover the murder weapons in this case?
No, we did not recover any.
So you never had any guns recovered that matched these shell casings?
That match those shell casings.
All right, we're going to change locales. Y'all became What kind of car is that right there?
And that's the white Ford Expedition.
I know you have seen this before, but there's going to be a little bit.
Approaching the Expedition.
This is right after the shooting. So right after the shooting, they bring the Mercedes to that house. They back out this Expedition. Remember, one guy is shot. He's driving. He's a Cornelius. Justin's on this side. Then they take this car. They just park the white car that did the shooting, and they drive it over to somebody's girlfriend's house to kind of get cleaned up because one person shot, the other one's grazed.
Two men outside. Go ahead. Go ahead. Were you interested in those two men?
Yes, I was.
Tell me why you're interested in those two men.
And the clothing that they have on. You see the dark sweatshirt with gray hoodie. The black hoodie with gray sweatpants. Shoes matching the description of the suspects that were at McKee's cookies.
y'all obtained video not just of them arriving, but while they were there and then leaving. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Before they were leaving the little videos. They arrived 37 minutes after the murder. This is 54 minutes after the murder.
It is.
The expedition's still there, is that correct?
That's correct.
Suspects are still inside.
Still inside.
This Dodge Charger has just arrived.
Dodge Charger arrives, and you see one of the suspects come out and walk to the Charger.
Let me get to some new footage that you guys haven't seen. Give me a second. Okay, so you're gonna get some new footages here. I think that's a detective up there. Okay, cool.
The rear of the white Mercedes-Benz parked in the tree, in the bush back there.
So they had pushed that car that did the murder. They pushed it all the way in the back into the little trees.
40, we're walking up on it.
Closer image of the white Mercedes with the Illinois tag.
41, driver's side.
Driver's side.
We're looking inside of it. It has like a license plate inside of it.
Correct. It has a Mississippi, DeSoto County license plate on the passenger rear seat.
Exhibit 10.
That's the passenger side view of the Mercedes-Benz. You can also see the damage there going down the passenger side of the vehicle, especially on the rear side panel.
So is it fair to say when you see this, you know that you've got your car?
Yes.
Do y'all investigate, like, where'd this car come from?
Yes, we would check the VIN or license plate.
Did y'all in fact find that the car was taken in a carjacking in Memphis a few weeks before this crime?
We did.
Did y'all in fact find that the suspect in that carjacking was Treon Ingram?
Correct.
And I'll say it here, that Justin Johnson was not a suspect in that carjacking.
No.
But car taken in Memphis a few weeks before, suspect Treon Ingram.
Treon Ingram.
Where it makes it to the tunnel?
Correct. That's the tunnel.
I call it tunnel. That's where y'all process cars, right?
Correct. The crime scene investigative.
That is 53, 43. In the tunnel, now we can see that damage real good.
Yes. Damage to the passenger side, rear side panel.
Is that blood?
Here we have back of the car be closer up on that. Keep going. For the record. 48. 44. C. 51. D. 52. E. Various license plates found in the car.
Yes.
45, Mississippi plate. 46, a couple of Illinois plates. 47, close up of that Mississippi plate. Now, processing the car, that's something the crime scene does, is that correct?
It is.
And they try to lift what fingerprints they have from the car, is that correct?
That's correct.
And then they try to compare those prints to any sort of known individuals that may be in the system or whatever it is that they have fingerprints for.
It is.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
And when you were you apprised that they were able to lift some prints from the car?
Correct.
That they were able to identify?
Yes.
All right. In particular, I want to ask you about these, okay? This is from the 2014 Mercedes. Prints lifted from the right rear quarter panel marked D. So we saw a picture of that, the back of the car?
Yes.
Outside?
Outside.
Were found to be the fingerprint impression belonging to Cornelius Smith.
Yes.
Does that become a name you're interested in?
I'm denying we're interested.
Because we got his prints on the outside back of this car.
Yes.
Prints lifted from the outside left door marked A. I think that's the driver's side door. We saw a picture of it. Belonged to Kiston Garner.
Kiston Garner.
Does that become a name that you're interested in?
It does.
More prints. This one from the trunk lid marked C also belonged to Kiston Gardner. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then we have some prints lifted from one of those tags, the Mississippi tag that we saw 2 pictures of. They also belong to Kiston Gardner.
Yes.
And then prints lifted from the rear quarter panel marked B and the outside left door marked A and from a brochure from anybody.
All right, I'm going to try to get to more exhibits.
Do you see a Infiniti pull up at the gas station?
We do.
Here we go.
21, we're at 3:16 a.m. in the morning. 9
So basically, they're tracking these cars. They identified that the car had multiple other license plates in the car. So because of that, they are trying to find where was the car this whole day. Remember that fatal day they decided to go hunting for someone of CMG affiliation, not CMG, I mean PRE affiliation, and they were paid by Big Jug to just shoot or hurt someone that was affiliated, so some type of rapper or notorious figure with PRE.
hours before the murder.
Yes.
All right. This car arrives.
Yes.
And then what is that?
That's the white Mercedes. Pulled up to the pot.
These 2 cars, the cars are together?
Yes, sir. Pulled in together. One went to one pump, one went to the white Mercedes, went to the other pump.
So this is before they got in the same car. They're gassing up the vehicles. Show some more from there. Now it shows the gas station inside.
That we saw at the pump.
Right. And we got out only the driver to get ready to enter the business.
And right there.
Yes.
And do you know who that person is, kind of with a fatter face?
That would be Treyon Ingram.
That's Treyon Ingram. We can stop it there. So what we watched was an Infiniti arrive at the gas station.
Yes.
With Mr. Ingram driving.
Ingram driving.
And Mr. Ingram exiting and going inside the store.
Yes.
That there was a front seat passenger of the Infiniti who we did not get to see on camera at the pump.
Right.
The white Mercedes arriving.
Correct.
Mr. Gardner pumping gas.
Yes.
Both the cars swing around to the other area.
Yes.
And then from the distance, video of the driver of the Mercedes getting out and a different person getting in.
Different person with different clothing.
All right. Chat, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is finna put me to fucking sleep, my nigga. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like, it is about to put me to sleep. I think it's because I streamed late today. Fuck. Chat, there were some interesting moments, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, for me to parse through and just find all these moments, it's a 7-hour stream. The most important thing today in court was that the detective kind of showed how they caught the situation, but this is pretty cut and dry, right? Like, you know what I mean? Everything's on camera. They could track that vehicle. It was at a gas station. They saw who was in it. They saw who got out of it. They figured out the phone things pretty well. This shit's kind of cut and dry, right? Actually, chat, I'm pretty much gonna call it a night. I'm tired. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, I streamed 8 hours last night, and I still woke up at 6 a.m. So I got off at 3 a.m. and I got up at 6 a.m. and I didn't get a nap before stream today. I know, I'm an idiot. So I'm actually gonna get off stream, and I'm probably, not even probably, 100% I'm gonna be back on just earlier, right? So rather than go through this and like put myself to sleep and keep y'all up, where there's not much explanation that I'm adding to it, I'm gonna just call it a night, and we'll be back tomorrow. By the way, also tomorrow, I'm probably gonna schedule a stream like shortly after this. We're gonna, I can't use certain words. We're gonna investigate into this whole, there's a new angle coming out from the Diddy situation about Justin Bieber and that he's a victim, and like basically almost saying like people were like, damn, running a train on his asshole. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So tomorrow we're gonna like look into that a little bit more. Obviously, again, it's late. I don't want to keep doing extra topics, but I'm very glad that I kept the consistency by coming on tonight. Again, chat, you know, I have a high expectation for the stream, so I'm gonna apologize to you guys for not, you know, number one, not getting to 5 hours, and not giving the full, you know, stream experience. I know we did the top 5 thing for a while today, so appreciate you guys if you tolerate that. And tomorrow, I hope I'll be better. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Please go get some sleep. I definitely will. I'm about to go exactly to bed, and I'll be back on tomorrow really